All right, so welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. And today's session is one that I haven't really run before. I thought it was a good opportunity to go through some of the growth tools that I've shared with you recently. Things like the ebook, the 20 Reasons ebook, my business building model. I think I shared a quick video of that, and also the associated checklist. So I want to take you through those, but also give you an opportunity to ask questions about those tools, but just any issues in business that you'd like to raise and get some advice on. As I said, welcome and thank you very much for taking the time. I know everyone's very busy, so I really appreciate you taking this hour out of your day. And for those, actually, before I continue with my quick intro, for those that have just joined us, if you can just open up your chat box. So just hover around the screen and open up, there'll be a chat icon. So open that up and just say hi and just let us know how you are this morning, because we'll be mainly just you're having conversation through the chat box and then open it up to unmute people later on. So for those that don't know me, I think a lot of you already do, but for those that don't, it's a very quick profile of myself. My name's Anil Puri. I'm a business coach, an accountant by background. I've got 30 years plus business experience. 15 of those is really in my own business doing this. And prior to that in corporate and finance and commercial development roles. So I head up the business coaching division of Chan and Naylor nationally. So Chan and Naylor is a national accounting, finance and advisory group. We've got 8 offices around the country and over 160 staff. And I work with all of those offices, all of those accountants and other staff within those offices to help their clients. But I also have a lot of clients outside of that Chan and Naylor, Chan and Naylor structure. So the key areas that I help my clients with is really around strategy, planning, productivity, both individual productivity, but also business productivity and overall business profitability. So my focus is really to help my clients grow their business, but more so grow their bottom line. And as we grow the profits of a business, then you have more opportunity to buy back your time by employing other people, rewarding your staff more, and also giving back to either your family or to the community, whatever's important to you. And as I said, I've been running my own coaching business since 2005. So lots of experience working with lots of different businesses through trades, construction, manufacturing, professional services, import distribution, some retail and hospitality as well. All right, so what I really want to cover off today is a quick overview of why I'm running this workshop. Secondly, I'll run through very quickly the key strategies in my 20 Reasons ebook. That's a 37-page ebook, so I can't go through that in a lot of detail, but it'll give you a quick rundown of why I've highlighted some of those strategies in that book. I've also shared with you my business growth model, so I'll take you through that, and also the 81 checklist, which is a checklist of 81 different strategies across those 9 areas of my business building model. I'm going to explain how I implement those tools in my clients' businesses, the processes that I go through, and you can take that on board whether or not you're working with me or not. At least you can get an idea of how you can take some of these tools, think about your business and start implementing it for yourself. And then we'll have an open Q&A session as well. Okay. So before we get started, I want you to look at this photo and write down one word that comes to mind. Okay, and just enter that into your chat box. Michael says lucky. Ellie, cocktails, very good. Elise is relaxed. Time, yep, that's a good one. You're right, having free time. Money, to enjoy yourself in that way. Good one, Chris. Freedom from Anthony, excellent. So I suppose the reason why I put that up is these are all, apart from the cocktails, I'm not good behind a bar. But my focus with my clients is to help them with these lifestyle improvements. So it is about freeing yourself up from the business, having the business generate the cash, generate the free time to allow you to take advantage of what life has to offer. So, and that's what it's all about. You know, we're not here just to run our businesses. Businesses is here to work for us, not the other way around. Okay. So what does a business coach do? So very briefly, you know, I work on two key areas. I work on yourself, so help you improve your skills and become a better business person. But I also work on things external to you, which is more around the business, you know, the business processes, business strategies. So it's both of those things go hand in hand. But what I'm mainly going to focus on today is all the external stuff. So it's the models, the tools, the strategies, and how to implement that in your business. But in terms of the internal side of things, it's super important. Things like improving your knowledge, your skills, you know, the habits that you have, clarity around where you're headed and what you need to do to focus on that, and also improving your attitude in general. Okay, and the way I do that is through these different areas. My role is to help you understand how to use the business model, to educate yourself about how to do business better. Use my coaching program to help with that and share ideas amongst a group, accountability to get things done, you know, and so on. Okay. So I thought I'd just briefly cover that off. And today what I want to do is just show you how all of those tools fit together. So the 20 Reasons book, the business model, the checklist I mentioned, what are the implementation steps that I take my clients through. And I really want to share with you a new service that I've just launched. I've been trialing it with some clients over the last few months. It's a new low-cost group program. So just for those that don't know, traditionally I've worked with clients one-on-one, but it's generally larger businesses that have more of a budget. But I know there are a lot of businesses that can't afford one-on-one. It may not make sense for them. And so that's why I've introduced this low-cost program. So I'll take you through that very quickly. I'm not going to share too much, but the implementation steps that I'm going to share with you are sort of aligned with that group program. Okay, so I'm excited about expanding that this year and really, you know, ramping that up and getting more people in there as part of my community, so I can help more people and help them get the results. All right, so I'm going to flick over quickly to my 20 Reasons ebook. Can I ask, who has read it? Who has started reading it? I know it's quite long, so I don't expect everyone to have gone through it. But I'll just go to the start of it and just explain a bit about the structure of of the book. So Ellie's read it. Excellent. Thanks, Ellie. Okay, so the first, as you can see in the book, the first 10 tips of the 20 really are focused on quicker wins and quicker results. All right. Now, I won't spend time going through it in too much detail. It's all there for you to read. But obviously getting organized is a big part of it. A lot of what I do with clients is help them get more clarity around where they're headed, but also how their week should be structured, how they can get the right things done in the same amount of time and therefore get better results. Things like regular meetings and having things in your business that run like clockwork, like meetings, is important. I'm an accountant by training, so the numbers are very important to me. And I really encourage everyone to be across their numbers, either work with your bookkeeper, your accountant, or someone like myself to really understand the numbers. The clients of mine that really know their numbers and are on top of those are the ones that are guaranteed to do well. Okay. So really encourage you to do that. Having a point of difference, there's a good saying that it's not about doing things better in your business, it's about doing things differently. So ideally, if you can find a position in the market where you do things differently to your competitors, it's a lot easier to stand out and it's a lot easier to win work and get noticed and charge more for that work as well. I always tell people the profit is in the price, and it is about making sure that you can position your business properly and price yourself in the right way so you can, make that profit in the bottom line. We're not large conglomerates who can rely on volume. For us, it's about low volume and pricing our products and services in the right way. I won't take you through this in too much detail. I have a separate webinar that I run around the profit growth formula, but there's 5 key levers in a business that you can use to ramp up your profits. So once again, it gives you a bit of a snapshot in the ebook around that. This next point is all about, it's not really, it's not good enough to rely on you having a fantastic service or fantastic product. You need to be able to sell that to people, okay? They can't benefit from your fantastic product or service unless they can, unless you explain well how it's going to help them and that they decide to use your service or product, okay? So it is about understanding that every business owner is not just about doing a good job, it's about being able to communicate and sell the message and have clients start using you, all right? So it's about understanding how to improve your sales skills. The next one's pretty self-explanatory. It's about getting the right team in place and the right people in the right seats. Once again, I get a lot of people who learn a lot of my clients learn a lot from asking their clients for feedback and other people that work with their business. So it's amazing how you can learn and improve through that process. And this 10th one's an important point. It's not about getting bogged down and making sure you've got the perfect strategy or spending time developing the right systems and everything else in the business. It's about implementing. It's about taking action and getting things done. And that's why in this ebook, I had a very, very simple planning worksheet that you can use, and I explain how to use it in this page of the ebook. So it is about just getting things out of your head and making sure things are on paper and you're getting through things, not just having a detailed plan that sits in the bottom of your drawer. And then the next 10 items, I won't go through in much detail, but it is all about developing yourself, your skills, your attitude, your beliefs, and becoming better as a business person, because that will give you the long-term results. Okay, so for those that have read the ebook or skimmed over it, what are a couple of things that stand out from there for you personally, that you might want to focus on in your business? And I know not everyone's read the ebook, but I would take the time to at least skim over it. And if there are certain headings that stand out for you, definitely read those and take those on board. Yes, Ellie said she's also read How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is a brilliant book. I really recommend you doing that as well. And I think it's important as part of these 20 tips and what Ellie's just mentioned, it is about taking the time to learn. If you can learn, read, take a few things, a few points out of anything you learn, any seminars you go to, if you start implementing it, that's the key. It's not just about highlighting certain things that you want to, that make sense for you. It's about actually implementing it, all right? So I'll let you go through that after this webinar. Definitely in the Q&A section, if you have read this, if there's things that jump out, let's have a discussion about that as well. So Ellie's also shared having a master to-do list and breaking that down. Yeah, very, very important to get some sort of system that works for you to manage your tasks and manage your time and manage your week. All right, so that's the 20 Reasons ebook. And I just want to go through that quickly because I know I shared that with you, but I really want to focus on my business building model because that's more around the framework on how to identify areas that you should focus on and what the priority is for your business. All right, so I'll just go back to my presentation. Okay, so this is the business building model. Now I shared this with you. There's a 5-minute video I shared with you, and I'll just run through that very quickly. So I always tell people there are 3 parts to every business. The first part is getting the work in the door. So that's the first column, and those 3 areas within that first part. The second part is getting the work done productively and effectively. And the last part is getting paid, getting organized, making sure the back office is working well and can support the operations area and the sales and marketing area. Okay. So within each of those areas, so getting the work in relies on strategy, understanding where you're positioned in the market, what your competitors are doing, what makes you different, what your business model looks like, do the numbers stack up in how you want to grow and scale the business. So understanding all of that, and that's the first thing I do with clients is go through a process to review their strategic business plan, their issues, where they want to head, and whether it all, how to make that all make sense. Marketing is all about a plan to generate leads. Sales is all about converting those leads into customers. In the middle part, delivery is all about making sure that you've just got the basic processes in place. You can deliver consistently, either your product or service to your customers, and that you can minimize customer complaints and customer issues. Team is making sure that you've got a good process to recruit the right people, induct them into your business, set expectations, manage them well, and make sure they're performing well. And systems is all about making sure you've got the right, your processes documented, your team knows how to do things, and there's consistency in what they're doing. And it also makes it much easier to then recruit more people, get them up to speed quickly. Okay. Sorry, just go back. And the last part is about getting paid, getting organized, making sure you've got a plan in place that can take your strategy and implement it. So that's making sure you know where you're headed and you've got a plan that you can share with the rest of your team. Time is about understanding how to manage your time better and how to free up the time, how to use that time most effectively, how to delegate to others, and make sure you're adding the most value to your business as possible. And as I said around the numbers, it's understanding your financials, understanding the key numbers that drive your business. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of my business building model. And hopefully you can take that and use it and say, okay, well, I'm missing this. I need to focus on this area here or whatever it might be. So quick question for you is, out of these three columns, get the work in the door, get the work done more effectively and productively, and getting paid, getting organized in the back end, what's the priority for you? Do you need to get more work in the door? Do you need to get it done more effectively? Or do you need to get organized in the back end? So so just type in which of those three are the focus for you at the moment. Michael says 1, good. Ellie, getting the work done, specifically team, great. So I'll share some, obviously in the next page, I'll share my checklist around that. John is get the work in. Artem, get the work done, and team, excellent. David, team. Chris, team, yeah, good. So a bit of a mix there. Getting the work in, getting the work done. So the areas that I focus on normally with clients first, so as I mentioned, is the strategy piece. Then I tend to focus on these outside areas. I find it can be counterproductive to ramp up sales and marketing if you don't have these fundamental areas in place. So things like delivering consistently, making sure you're on top of your numbers, you've got good control over your time, you know how to manage your time. Because if you don't have those in place and you ramp up things like marketing and sales, then things may fall over. You might have customers that aren't happy with the service and so on. Okay. So this is another tool that I shared with all of you. I shared a PDF of this. And within each of these 9 areas, I have another 9 areas, another 9 tactics to help complete each of these 9 broad areas in my model. Okay. Now, obviously I don't have a lot of detail behind these, but some of them are self-explanatory. Others make a note. So I think I asked you all to maybe print off this or at least review it. And if we have questions, happy to discuss those in the Q&A. I know a lot of people will ask, well, what is Pestel, for example? But a lot of people said, okay, well, team is an area that needs focus. So having your accountability chart in place. So that's like an organization chart on steroids, really. It's a specific tool I use to help people map out their organization structure, but also what the key responsibilities are for each of those functions in an organization. Defining your values, there's a whole range of things that I use to work on to make sure your team is functioning well. And from experience, I know that those businesses that complete each of these 9 broad areas over time, they might start with 2 or 3, they get those done, and then they keep building. The more of those 9 areas you build out in your business, the more profitable your business will be, the easier it will be to run, and then you can be sitting on that deck chair or the banana lounge on the beach. Okay, so that's the focus. And then obviously within each of those 9 areas, there's getting specific things done and working on those each month, each quarter to build up your business. So any questions so far? And I've been going on fairly quickly through it all. So I'd like to just pause and see if anyone has any questions on either the ebook, the business building model, or this checklist at this stage. If it all makes sense, just say, yep, all good. All good, awesome. Okay, thanks guys. When did I send the checklist? So can I just check, did others get the checklist? I sent it as part of the webinar invitation, I think, from memory. I'm not sure exactly. Just can others just respond if you have seen this before? All right, I better move on. Yeah, so I think a few people have confirmed. So yeah, just have a check, just check on that, Michael. All right, so there's some of, so that business building model is the core tool that I use. It helps me identify, so when I'm meeting with someone as part of my strategic review, it helps me identify what the priorities need to be immediately. But it's the model that I use to help my clients educate themselves on their business and all of the components they need to work on over time. And either they can upskill themselves and learn more about those areas, or at least they identify, I need help with marketing, for example, and I need to engage with a marketing person. Now, if I just go back, I have to say, I'm not an expert on all of these areas, all right? I have certain strengths, but I will work with, HR specialist or a marketing specialist and different marketing specialists, depending on what my client needs, whether it's a social media specialist or whether it's more a branding and design specialist. So I will bring people in to complement my skills, but my role is really to keep people focused on this model, on implementing this model, and then having a process over time to stay on track. Okay, so that's where I fit in. It's about that bigger picture. And that's all you need to do as well. You don't need to become an expert on all of these areas. You need to understand how to structure your business, what are the areas that the business needs to work on, and then work with people to help you implement and improve all of these components in your business. All right, so now over to the approach that I take. How do we actually implement these tools into a business? And it is all about getting clear on what needs to be done and then getting it done. Okay, there's no point just getting clear and being, having a plan. It's about making sure stuff gets done. All right, so here are the steps that I take with my clients. So as I've already said, we have an initial strategy and planning session. Then I set everyone up on a portal which tracks your goals and your KPIs. So KPI stands for key performance indicators. So they're the key numbers in a business so it's not your financials, it's not your profitability, it's not your P&L. These are other numbers that will help you achieve the right financial outcomes. So for example, it could be, so who have we got on the call here? So Chris is a finance specialist. He's actually just helping another client of mine out at the moment. He does commercial finance. So if you need any help with finance, then Chris can help you out. So he would be focused on the number of appointments he's holding, the number of quotes that he's doing every week, the value of loans that he's dealing with in his pipeline, how many are settling. So there's all these other numbers that he will need to track. And if he knows that he's hitting these numbers, then he knows that the outcome and the results will come down the track, okay? Who else do we have on here? Yeah, so a lot of it will be around, I can probably bring up, I've got a list of key KPIs across different areas such as marketing and sales, operations. So IT client of mine, for example, he knows that his team needs to do X number of hours of billable work every week. As long as they're doing that, and he can measure that, and he can measure who's hitting those targets and who's not, then he knows those results are going to come at the end of the month. Okay, so it's about understanding those KPIs. We have a process to actually share your goals, stay on top of those, and enter your KPIs weekly. I get all of my clients together. So this structure here is my group program. My one-on-one clients are very similar. So we have a fortnightly meeting. So in this example, it's a group meeting. And the benefit of a group meeting instead of just a one-on-one meeting with me is that they can hear what other clients are doing. They share ideas, they share experiences. And I had one on Tuesday morning, and one of my one-on-one clients was on there. And they're all welcome to attend these group meetings. And we did a review on time management and all these time management tools that I've covered off. And even though I've had one-on-one meetings with him, it's not until clients, in a lot of cases, it's not until they hear what other people are doing and they share and they discuss it with them that it suddenly clicks that that it's something they need to refocus on. So it's obviously improving skills around through those group meetings. We monitor results, we monitor the KPIs, we monitor financial results at the end of the month. We provide additional support through email and phone support. We also have I get all my clients together every 3 months, either face-to-face, normally in Parramatta. There's actually a quarterly growth day coming up on the 30th of March, which I'll send you some information about, but also have planning webinars. So my structure is all about a 90-day planning process. And whether or not you work with me or whether you can do this on your own or with other colleagues, I really recommend you to get into this habit of planning out your quarter, being focused on your long-term goals, understanding what you need to get done in the next 90 days, and then having a way to stay on top of that every week, okay? So we update the plan every 90 days, and then we go through that process again, right? So that is how I implement my model, my strategies, and keep people on track. And just as a bit of an example, I did a calc of, I did a review of all of my clients over the last year. And as you know, it's been COVID times, but on a cumulative level with all of my clients, revenue was up 32%, profits were up 63%. And now free time and holidays is a bit harder to measure, but obviously the whole idea of putting these strategies in place is so you can hire better people, hire the missing people you have, and free up your time. So I've got 2 clients at the moment who are recruiting for operations managers, and I've put them in touch with recruitment consultants that are helping them with that. I've got another one who's hiring a CAD designer. So he's a kitchen client that some of you may know. He's hiring a CAD person internally who can help him with his quoting and also kitchen redesigns. So it's all about, you need to get the profits up first, and then you can obviously invest in those people and obviously the right people. So that's just a bit of a snapshot of the sorts of results and outcomes that I obviously focus on. But at the end of the day, it's all about this last one. They've just got a greater sense of control. They've got a plan in place. They're not scattered. They know that it's a long-term journey. It's a journey over years, but they know that they're making the steps in the right direction. All right, so question for all of you before we head into the Q&A part of the workshop. What is your obstacle at the moment? Is it a lack of a plan? Is it really not being clear on what the priorities are right now because you've got so much that you feel you need to focus on? Or do you have a plan, but you're not implementing it regularly? So just open up your chat box and just let me know what's the area that you probably need to focus on? Is it a plan, getting clear on your priorities, or you've got those, but you're just not implementing? So Elise's priorities. Yep, good. And sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees. You know, we're so busy in the day to day. There's so many things to do, so many hats to wear. It's really not, you really, sometimes it needs that external person just to ask you the right questions and help you get clear on what needs to get done. And on that, I'm not an expert in every business. You know, Anthony's, as I said, another business coach who's on this call. We can't be experts in every business. Sure, we've got lots of experience. I know Anthony's got probably similar experience to me, but it is about asking the right questions and helping you get clear sometimes. So Artem says plan and priorities. Michael's a plan from Ellie. John says wearing too many caps. Yep, that's fair enough. But not enough sales to afford additional staff. Yeah, and that's another key frustration that I see business owners have, but it's a frustration that I have when I meet someone who is super busy, but not making the money that they should be or could be. Ellie, too much work, not enough time. All right. And an implementation from David. All right, good. No, thanks for sharing, everyone. So what I'd like to do now is, because I've gone through this very quickly, and there's obviously a lot of different strategies, different approaches there that I've shared. So let's just open it up for some Q&A, and feel free to unmute yourself and just ask a question. There's not too many on the call here, so I'm sure we can manage it. So ask me any questions about either the models, the tools that I've shared, the checklist, or anything in business that you currently need help with. Happy to help out. This could be a quick Q&A session if there's no questions.
Hi. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out how to.
No, that's fine. G'day, Ellie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Quickly introduce yourself and what you do, and maybe a little bit about the structure of your business.
Yep. So I'm Ellie. I'm from Titanium Traffic Plans. We are currently a 2-person business with a Sydney office and a South Coast office. We draw traffic control plans and apply for permits, road occupancy licenses, and we do we work with clients from a small plumber to government contracts. The biggest issue we're having at the moment is we are having a really big growth period, which is good, particularly down south. We have a lot of work. We have high standards for our work, so we do take a bit more extra time. We just don't have the staff to keep that up. Like, we are at the point where if we don't do something, we're going to struggle. Like, we already are struggling to deliver.
Yep.
So what would you sort of suggest?
Yeah, so what I would do is, first of all, what I would do is if I was working with you, is sit down and understand the financials, like a bit of the forecast, making sure I understand, what sort of, are you across your numbers? Do you know what sort of profit you're making and what that might look like in, say, 6 months or 12 months as you continue to grow? And do those numbers stack up? Are you charging enough, for example? And are you making enough profit margin in the business? Because, so I've got a lot of clients obviously that are growing, and they need to take on staff to grow. But until we actually assess financially if it makes sense and when they can afford those people, then it can be difficult to have the confidence to put on the right people. So that's one thing I'd be looking at is just understanding your financial model, understanding a bit about the forecast. If you continue to grow, what might it look like in 6 months? What sort of additional staff you need to support that growth? Build those costs in and see what the outcome would look like in a forecast sense. The other thing I would do is map out your organization structure. And I'm not sure if I've got time to bring it up now, but I use a tool to not just map out the two roles that you have, obviously, because that's pretty easy to do, but it's more about all the functions in a business. Okay, so the 4 key functions that I focus on in a business is the marketing, the sales, the operations, and then finance and admin.
Yep.
All right, so they're the 4 key areas. And I always say that it's a bit like the band AC/DC. We all like AC/DC. A is for attract, so that's the marketing part. C is convert, that's the sales part. AC. D is for deliver, which is the operations part. And the last part, C, is collect the cash, which is that finance and admin area. All right. So and every business is structured a little bit differently, but understanding those key functions, who is currently wearing the hats in your business? So Ellie, I know it's you and your brother that run the business.
Yes.
Yep. So you're obviously the finance and admin person, I think. You're probably the marketing person, he's the operations person.
He's more the finance and admin, and he draws all the plans. I do everything else. Yeah. That's sort of how it works.
Yeah. So let's say if we sat down, we did the financial review, it makes sense to hire staff because financially it's all viable and it's all good. If that's not the case, we might need to tweak. Well, are we pricing properly? Are we making enough money on the jobs and so on? And it's better to get that right first before you decide to grow, because if you keep growing and you're not making enough money on the jobs, then you're just going to be stuck with all of these low profit work. So it's best to get the model right first and then work out, well, what are the roles you need? So in that organization structure, we would obviously go down levels and say, okay, well, within the operations area, there's the drawings, there's the logistics of organizing the plans with the appropriate authorities and so on. So, and then it's about saying, okay, well, who's currently filling those roles? Which are the roles that make sense for us to start recruiting for first? Yep. And you might find that it's the easy way to do it is to, instead of recruiting a full-timer, you might outsource your bookkeeping.
Yep. Okay,
so it's a bit of a conversation around that. Yeah. Does that help answer your?
Yes, it does actually. Thank you.
And obviously I think we've only met once or twice in a networking function, so I don't really know too much about your business, but yeah, happy to catch up about that.
Thank you.
Any other questions that people might have? Ellie, I might just put you, oh no, you've muted yourself. Thanks for that. Any other questions about the business building model, that framework, the checklist, or as Ellie had a question about, something more specific about her business? Okay, so we've got some questions here on the chat, I've just noticed. So John, okay, what is the average size in sales of my clients? Are there any firms in home renovations? Yes, so I generally work with businesses. So traditionally the one-on-one clients have between say 5 and 30 staff. My group clients are generally 1 to 10 staff. Okay, so there's a bit of overlap in terms of the types of clients that either suit one-on-one or group. And that's partly a decision for them, but it's also depends on where they want to take the business. There are some smaller businesses that have big growth plans and it makes sense to invest in more one-on-one support. And in terms of home renovations, yes, I've got landscapers, kitchen companies, electricians, and I know a lot of those have done very well over COVID. Everyone's been sitting at home and thinking, oh, that's right. I need to get I don't have money that I need to spend on my holidays because I'm stuck at home. Let's get the kitchen done. Let's get landscaping done, and other bits and pieces around. Michael's asking, is it a good time to adjust pricing? So Michael, that's quite a open-ended question. All I can say is it depends. It depends on what your competitors are doing, how you're currently positioned and pricing yourself in the market. I know, Michael, we caught up a while ago and we did a strategy session, and you're in that software space around CRMs and ERPs, I think, from memory. We probably do need to sit down and work out not just what your competitors are doing and what your but also what your market, what's been your experience over the last 6 months, say. What's been the feedback from customers? What sort of customers have you been working with? Can we start focusing on higher end customers that are willing to pay a better price? So there's a whole range of things. So we probably need to have a conversation about that. Ellie's asking, what does PESTEL stand for? All right, so I should go back. Let me just go back to that. I think on here. So PESTEL is here. So as part of this strategy piece, I think most people have heard about SWOT, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. PESTEL is more around a tool to understand the trends in your industry. So what PESTEL stands for is political. So what's happening politically? Does that affect your industry? Economic. What's happening with the economy? Social trends. E is technological. So what's happening in your market? Uber's a great example. The taxi service has been left behind because of that technological shift. E is environmental. So there are a lot of obviously there's a big push with environmental at the moment. We can see there are providers such as there's a telecommunications company. Is it Beyond? There's one of that promote themselves as totally carbon neutral, and I think that will resonate with some people. And L is legal. So what are some is there changes in legislation that's going to affect your industry and so on? Okay. Yeah, and if anyone, Michael, if you want to unmute yourself and discuss pricing in a bit more detail, happy to do that as well. So just feel free. Any other questions, either unmute yourself or post it in the chat box. That'd be great. All right, so if you do have any questions, here we go. So lean is so that's another one from Ellie. Good stuff. I like Ellie likes to learn. It's good to hear. Lean is it's a system that a lot of manufacturers, not just manufacturers, a lot of businesses use to review their internal processes, mainly manufacturing. So it's about understanding how your manufacturing process is set up, both physically, but also then it then filters through to your office processes and everything else. So it's there's another one that a lot of people use called Six Sigma. So these are large corporates use this sort of are very big on these, but a lot of smaller businesses are starting to adopt these process improvement strategies and methodologies. All right, so what I might do is, if there's no other questions, feel free. Okay, Anthony's asking a good question. 2020 was a challenging year. What do I recommend for people to keep their motivation and energy levels up? Great question, Anthony. I think a lot of it is being around the right people and the right environment. And one of the slides that I had up previously is one of the ways that I help people with their internal focus, like how to develop themselves. And that's not just your skills, it's your attitude, it's your motivation, being around the right people. I'm a member of the Penrith Chamber of Commerce, positive people who want to do things in their business. So being around the right people, I think, is key. Having a plan and being focused on, being clear where you're headed will also help motivate you. I'm a people person, so I think it all depends on what your personality style is, what's important to you. So for me, I like to be around people. I learn from people. It gives me energy. I enjoy that. Others are less people focused. and they want to more just have a plan to focus on and have someone else to talk with. But either way, I think being part of a group that's positive, is sharing ideas, helping each other out, I think is very important. There's an excellent quote that I know Anthony knows, and some of you I've shared before, this quote. It's by a guy called Jim Rohn. He is a business philosopher, I suppose, and a business advisor. He taught a lot of the current crop of business gurus. He's died recently in the last few years, but he's got a great quote. He says, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Okay, so if you're spending time with negative people, even if it's family, yeah, it's going to get you down and it's going to hold you back. But if you spend time with positive people, people you can learn from, people that can keep you motivated, they're energized, they're doing stuff, it's going to rub off on you. Okay, so really take that on board and make sure you're spending time with the right people. So Richard's made a good point here. He volunteers and that gives him perspective. Excellent. Yeah. So it is, everyone's got different priorities. So Richard obviously loves to give back. And I know Richard, for a number of years. So he loves giving back and that gives him purpose and helps motivate him. Artem, the 81 checklist looks quite complicated. That is where business coaches are reviewing intensely for their clients, I'm guessing. That is what business coaches are reviewing intensely. So I think, Artem, you're asking, well, there's a lot of stuff on that checklist, and you're right, it's not everything is relevant to everyone. So Ellie asked about lean. Lean's probably not very relevant for her business. So it's about having someone to work with, working out which of the strategies that are right for you, and which of the 9 key areas you need to focus on, and then within those 9 areas, which are the strategies that you need to focus on. All right.
Neil, Neil, it's Richard.
Yes, Richard.
Can I make a suggestion to Ellie? Because I volunteer with the SES, and they know they do a lot of paperwork, being the SES and a government organisation, and they do a lot of traffic control. Mm-hmm. So there may be, and they've got a lot of semi-retired people. So you might find if you talk to someone at your local SES or just go say g'day, they might have people looking for work or looking for casual stuff, and they'd already have the skill set you need, especially down the South Coast, because we've got big, so that might be an idea. I'm at the Penrith SES, so if you see us on the road, just slow down and don't hit us, please.
My father-in-law is actually in the SES in Falconbridge, and he's been there for 30 odd years. So I've spoken to him about it, and yeah.
What's his name?
Glenn Thompson.
Okay, no worries. No,
he's in vertical rescue. That's too scary for me. I jump in the floods. I go into the floods and hang from helicopters sometimes, but no, they're pretty good. We had Brad down training at our, we do a lot with them. So cool. That's it.
Richard,
no worries.
Thank you very much.
Quickly introduce yourself, Richard, since I've got you. I think anyone who's brave enough to ask a question, it's definitely worth highlighting what you do.
Well, I'm an insurance broker, so you can all hang up now. But so we've been finding some interesting stuff with insurance at the moment. Was with the plumbers, a lot of NRMA's throwing a lot of plumbers out, which was interesting. Anyone doing work over 2 stories, and their premiums are going through the roof. So someone was mentioning about pricing the other day. Mm-hmm. If you actually Google the hourly rate for plumbers, New South Wales is the most expensive in Australia. So that was sort of that drives everything, like that drives building costs, repair costs, the whole lot. Obviously with my SES stuff, if anyone's in Penrith, if you ever want to know about flood, ask me, because we do flood, and it's an interesting topic, and the council does a lot of work to fix it up. All right, that's about it really from me.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Richard. All right, guys, I think I might have to wrap it up there. If you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I know there's a few people that might need specific things we might need to look at in your businesses. So let's catch up and have a chat about that. But once again, thanks everyone for coming along. Now, the next steps I forgot to mention. I'll send you all information about this new program that I'm running, which is the Business Accelerator program. It's about how to excel in your business. And also happy to catch up for a quick 15-20 minute meeting to either go over any of these tools that I've shared or just to have a chat about your business. All right, so have a fantastic rest of the day, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon.